Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Ledwell and this is The Inspiration Show. Today on the show I have a guest who's going to be sharing a very inspiring story, and maybe one that you can relate to. She went through quite a harrowing health situation and how she was able to empower herself to get through that and share the information on how you can do that as well. So please welcome my guest, Robyn Openshaw. How are you, Robyn?
I'm doing so great. Thanks for having me on your show, Natalie.
Pleasure to have you here. You look gorgeous.
Well,
Red,
thank
obviously,
you.
your color. It's awesome. So you have an incredible story, like a very inspiring story, and of course this is the Inspiration Show, so of course it's very appropriate that we have you here to share that. So can you share your story and that journey that you went on, and how you got to the point that you're at now?
Yeah, so I was raised by a mom who was a health nut, and my grandmother was a health nut, and when I was in high school, my grandmother had cured herself of a very advanced stage cancer by not doing chemo and not doing radiation, but she drank 13 glasses of green juice a day, and she put herself in the hands of some alternative health practitioners, and she was supposed to die. She was supposed to die within a year, and instead, without doing the traditional protocols, she healed herself with this Whole Foods regimen. And I, was raised by these health nuts. We were practically vegetarian growing up. We grew a big garden. But then when I went off to college, I came from this super healthy family. Nobody was ever sick. I just started eating standard American diet. And I got married while I was in college, and my health started to go downhill, and my weight started to increase. And a little over 20 years ago, I weighed 206 pounds. And I had been diagnosed with 21 different diseases. I had been through years of infertility. When I'd been married 6 years, we'd been trying to have a baby for 5 of those years. We'd been through every infertility test twice. We've been through 5 artificial inseminations. I was experiencing a ton of anxiety, panic attacks. I was on a Class C drug for that. I had 4 autoimmune diseases. I was on 3 different drugs for that, including steroids. I would scratch my skin off at night, just so itching because of my horrible eczema. Seasonal allergies. I had high blood pressure. As my weight increased, I was starting to have mini strokes, was probably the scariest thing, where my right arm would go numb and I couldn't see or speak for quite a few hours, and they told me that it was TIA, or trans-ischemic attacks, mini strokes, all kinds of things. I had a big tumor. I was losing my eyesight, and I was only 27, and I finally had a baby after many interventions, and my baby was born at 9 pounds. He was really healthy, this crazy red-headed baby, and I was so thrilled to have him after 5 years of trying. And when he was a year old, I had weaned him onto all the things that we Americans eat, and also you Australians and Canadians. We have the standard American diet. Really should be called the standard something else diet. And I was feeding my baby lots of bottles of cow milk and lots of chicken nuggets and cinnamon raisin bread and lots of awful stuff, pizza. And I didn't really know what the big deal was. I didn't know the effect that food was having. But my son was diagnosed with asthma, and they put him on a lot of drugs, and it got worse and worse. He was in and out of hospitals and emergency rooms. And when he was 15 months old, he was in such a bad way. He had been on 5 courses of liquid steroids, which are guaranteed to stunt your growth. Yeah. He was on constant bronchodilators. We would strap this gas mask to his face every 4 hours to deliver bronchodilators, which made him not sleep or eat. He was on lots of antibiotics. He would get every sickness that came down the pike, and then those would take his immune system down. We were in a miserable situation. So I'm obese. I'm struggling with 21 diseases. My baby is near death many times, in and out of emergency rooms, and I exhausted everything that medicine could do for us. And I had a doctor tell me, "We've done everything we can for your son, and all you're going to get from here on out is more of the same." And he had been in oxygen tents and hospitalizations. And I wondered if our diet had something to do with it. I knew we ate a lot of crap. And one day I went in my kitchen and I put a bunch of greens in the blender with the other stuff that I'm not super proud of, and went out on the porch, put my baby down in the grass, and I was sitting there drinking this green thing, thinking, well, I'm going to try to do something healthy today. And my son, who was 15 months old, got up out of the grass and walked over and asked me if he could taste it. And I said, no. It's mommy's. And of course, you see where my brain's going, right? If he asks it, I'm like, oh, it's a glass of spinach and alfalfa sprouts, right? I'm like, no, it's mommy's. And he said, what is it? And I said, it's ice cream. So, of course, then he wanted it, and he begged for it, and so I said, well, okay, just a little bit, it's mommy's, fully intending to let him have as much as he wants and go make more if he wants it. And my son drank it to the bottom of the glass. Right. And he's making the slurping sounds with the straw. And that was the day a light bulb went off over my head that I could make whole foods that were really healthy, that taste good, that my child would eat. And I started to explore. And within a year, we had shifted from eating the standard American diet to eating a whole foods diet. It's not that we never ate sugar again. It's not that we never ate anything that isn't perfect again. But we made a shift, and we discovered how to eat whole foods to make it cheap, yummy, and easy.
Yeah.
And in that year, all 21 of my diseases disappeared, and I got off all the drugs. And my son went on to his senior year of high school a few years ago. He led the state of Utah in RBIs, and he led his baseball team to the state playoffs, and he hit 2 grand slams, and he pitched a 90-mile-an-hour near shutout in the state playoffs, and he was named most valuable player. And he's 6'3", and he was a failure to thrive baby eating the standard American diet. So I ditched 75 pounds without counting calories, and so I went out on the internet in 2007 to tell my story, and my site went very viral. It's called greensmoothiegirl.com.
So tell me, what do you think was it a combination of ingredients in this food, or what do you think was the main cause of all of the problems that you had?
I think that I was eating a lot of mucus forming foods like dairy products full of hormones, steroids, antibiotics. I was eating processed foods that all the fiber had been thrown away from the grain, and the gluten's been hybridized, and genetically modified foods. I mean, all these foods, if you're not paying attention to your food and you're not educated to get out of what everybody else in America is eating, you're eating a lot of genetically modified foods. Almost everything with corn and soy in it is GMO, and it has an effect on your gut. And we didn't know this. We didn't know this 20 years ago. Yeah. We know it now, and there's still most people are very much trapped in that diet. But it wasn't so much the combination of foods. It was that my diet was a disease-causing diet, an inflammation-causing diet. I was eating sugar, white flour, processed meat. Those were my staples. Yeah. And now my staples are greens, vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and seeds.
Right. Because that's the thing, and when we're talking about processed foods, we were talking really about anything that comes in a packet that's had something done to it to change the form of it from its natural, I have a girlfriend of mine who does some work like this, and she goes, she'd really only be in a supermarket, she'd only shop on the outside. Yeah. You don't do the middle rows, you just shop on the outside, because that's where the whole foods are.
Well, and not everything on the perimeter is good for you either. There's lots of crappy dairy products on the perimeter. That's a Michael Pollan concept from his book, I think, In Defense of Food, that he says shop to me that's like pretty decent general advice, but there's also dried legumes in the middle of the store, and there's also crappy dairy products, and Yoplait yogurt full of sugar on the perimeter too. But it's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, true. So let's say that there's someone watching the show right now, and they are suffering with some different health issues. What are some steps that they can take to be able to shift their health to be more in a more optimal state?
Yeah, so greensmoothiegirl.com isn't really a site about green smoothies. It's about, it started out as my journey, and it was a blog back when blogging was very new in 2007. And then we've developed tons of content. There's tons of articles and research and blogging and products that I love there. But the reason I called it Green Smoothie Girl is that was one of the ways that I discovered that you can spend a minimum amount of time in the kitchen to get a big bang for the buck. So I love for people to start with green smoothies. I teach people a 12 Steps to Whole Foods course, and it's basically all the things that I learned when I saw my family's health radically change and fast. And I read a lot of books, and I made a lot of recipes, and a lot of them were super yucky, and I'd end up dumping them down the drain and made my kids cry, and because I went on to have 4 children easily with no interventions, and with all of those health problems disappeared, I get to live this high vibration life. But I suggest people start with a green smoothie and put as much green in it as possible and challenge yourself to drink a quart a day, because in a quart a day, the way I teach it, you're getting 10 servings of raw greens and fruit. And that all by itself is life-changing for people, because average Americans only getting 1 or 2 fruits and veggies in their day, and it's generally not kale, spinach, collards, chard in their natural raw state. And generally it's French fries and ketchup and juice. You can't even compare the two. So I love for people to start with a green smoothie, but then I like them to take more steps with us.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be it can be a gradual process too. Like that way you're not shocking the body, and you're really getting those nutrients in there, which is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
now,
and I think it almost has to be step by step. That's the way we learn. You think about big revelations that have happened to you. Like I had a really hard thing happen to me about 10 days ago, and it's taken me this whole last 10 days just to process it and resolve it. Everything is that way. We don't go from a lifetime of being programmed about food and thinking of, we have all these memories associated with food, and there's foods that comfort us and the foods we were raised with that we have all these positive associations with. We don't snap our fingers and, eat nothing but, greens and veggies and love it overnight. But if you take steps the right direction, I can promise you, your tastes change.
Yeah.
Foods that you used to love, like I used to eat a bag of York peppermint patties about every other day. It was like I ate York peppermint patties every day of my life, lots of them. That doesn't even sound good to me now. I used to drink tons of Diet Coke. I have no interest in Diet Coke now.
Yeah, but what changes your mind is information.
Yes.
When you know what it's doing to you, then you're like, okay, I'm out of it. I can easily not do this,
Right.
Which is cool. Which is what Green Smoothie Girl is all about, being able to supply that information. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is how you are the superwoman behind the Be the Change tour that's happening next year. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got this brainchild and what Be the Change tour is all about?
Well, Be the Change tour arises out of the last 6 years that I've spent on a lecture circuit for 6 years I've been in 450 cities on stage, and I just invite my readers to show up, and we've had as many as over 500 people show up in a city as I was teaching people simple ways to eat more whole foods, and I did demos and taught classes and told my story in 450 places. I don't want to do it by myself anymore, and I've met so many change makers along the way, and I'm super excited to have you, Natalie, as one of these epic influencers and change makers take the stage as we show what we've done in our life to be the change we want to see in the world, which is that great Gandhi quote. But we have 24 influencers from wellness and from personal growth and development, and there will be 6 of us on each circuit on the tour, and next year we'll be in 44 cities between January and June, and I'm delighted to get to share a stage with you a number of times, and we talk about simple change, global impact. What are simple changes that each of us as speakers can help our audience leave with, that they can make dramatic, powerful change in their life right then, so that they can now then deliver to the world what they showed up here, what they were put on this planet to do. Simple changes really do make global impact.
Yeah. Yeah, I am so looking forward to playing with you and doing the tour and reaching all of those people. And like you said, it's all encompassing. And the thing is, we're not just up there, selling products per se. We're up there actually giving you nuggets, things that you can learn and specifically go home the next day and start to implement. That is actually going to make a change in your life and help you to become the change that you want to see in the world as well. So I'm very excited about sharing this with our community and sharing you with our community because you have such incredible information. You're such an amazing person. So if you want to connect with Robyn, make sure you go to greensmoothiegirl.com. But if you click on the banner to the side or underneath this video, wherever it is, that'll actually take you through to the Be the Change website, so that you can check to see when we're coming to a city near you, and for you to be able to register for those events, because I'm so looking forward to you know, and it's something different. It's not the usual type of live event that you go to. So I can't wait to meet you in person and meet you in person, Robyn.
Yes, I'm excited too, and we're going to have so much fun.
That's going to be amazing. So, guys, I encourage you to share this video. You can do that by clicking the Facebook and the Twitter share buttons on this page. And make sure you click on the banners to go through to the Be the Change website. And leave your email if you haven't done so already, so I can send you the Manifesting with the Masters video e-course. So until next time, remember to live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.